Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to another precision farming video. Now there's one thing I want to talk about precision farming, which I forgot to mention. I'm noticing much higher yields, total yields, than from before for fields. I've already got a feel for a field, if that makes any sense. I have a feeling, just from looking at a field, I'm able to feel out how much yield that field may produce from the old version of Seasons. Because I put so many hours into this game already, total, for all of my save games combined. With precision farming now, a field now produces more, especially if the crop is in the preferred soil type. And then of course, the nitrogen values have all been perfect. Just want to make sure everybody knows that with these videos that I make, that the nitrogen values have always been at maximum that I can possibly do. As well as weeding with herbicide. I pretty much kill all the weeds and make sure that I keep up on the weeds before harvest. And with that being said, the yield amounts have been a lot higher since the DLC has come to be a part of Farming Simulator 19. And that's really cool, because it gives a person a reward for having the best soil types for a certain seed. That makes sense. The old way, everything had just a set amount, as long, including all of the other factors that I said, where you take care of the weeds, and you fertilize it 3 times in the old way. Now in the new way with this DLC, you get a reward for the soil type that the seed would rather grow on. And right now, it seems to be, with precision farming, loam seems to be the best, no matter what, for yield amounts. But then, of course, you get crop rotation, which comes into play, and that really helps create more of a realistic feel. Now, I know from doing research, soybeans prefer a more well-drained soil. So I planted a bunch of soybeans on some loamy sand, just to see if I get a giant yield bigger than I ever would have thought I could get. Because the soybean plant actually likes more of a sandy type soil, more of a not so tightly packed. Boy, that was a tongue twister for some reason for me. So what I'm doing here now is harvesting this canola, because I said I would make a video harvesting these 2 fields. And I'm going to have so much canola left, harvested this time, where I don't really need to concentrate on growing enough of it anymore, because I'm saving it for pigs. The rule of thumb, believe it or not, you've got your soybeans, your sunflowers, and canola as one of the choices for pigs in Seasons. And then you've got your corn, and then you've got your wheat or your barley. And then you've got your soybeans or your sunflowers or your canola with pigs. Now the reason I'm making this point is canola, I believe, is, of those 3 choices, is the better crop to give to the pigs, and then sell the soybeans and the sunflowers. So always never be afraid to grow canola. The more canola you grow, the more you'll never have to grow. And I'm going to be pretty set on canola after this is all said and done, because right now I have 7,059 canola, but with the harvest of these 2 fields, the canola on the field over here, which I'm harvesting right now, and then the other canola crop doesn't have a crop rotation planner, but you can see right now I'm getting a bonus of 1.20, and on the other one I believe the bonus is also 1.20, which is the one adjacent to this one, which at the start of this video I was just finishing up. The one over there, just beyond the windmill. And let's take a look now. I forgot. There's the yield amounts so far. But you know what? I'm really kind of surprised that the yield amounts on the edges of that field are in orange, the one I'm on right now, because the soil types are the same, roughly. There's an even distribution of lime to loam on the field I'm in right now, and the field I'm on right now, and the field that looks like a letter L, a fat letter L. There's an even distribution amount to each one. One is more sandy loam, one is more loamy loam, and vice versa. So you got loam and sandy loam there. But why would the yield amount be like that? So much orange, huh? Compared to the other one. Well, I guess that's just how it goes. Sometimes fertilizer just does not get distributed, or it could be weeds. There could be a little bit of weeds in there, you know. Like I said, there's some weeds, but not a lot. I really do my darndest to make sure I get those weeds. But if you have crop destruction turned on, it's not so easy, and of course I do. Everybody who's not aware of how my playstyle is, let's just take a look. So for people that are brand new to my channel that have not watched other videos yet, this is what I've got, this is what I have. And this is what I have. Here we are. Crop destruction turned on. And then in addition with seasons, you've got crop destruction at a damage scale of 50. And do you notice the weeds intensity scale is 20? That's the default. And believe me, there is a lot of weeds that sprout up just at that. If you were to put that at 50%, you would see a lot of weeds if you're a really hardcore player. If you put that at 100%, that weed intensity scale, I'll bet you'll have so much weeds that you could actually make more of a profit selling weeds than the actual crop itself, if it were a thing you could do. So just be knowing that my harvester is full. And just let it be known that the weed scale sensitivity of 20, that's plenty. If you want realism, believe me, it'll give you some weeds to take care of. So I'm almost done. Once I put this in here, I'll give you an idea of how much I have so far. Pretty nice big size trailer I got there, right? It cost me about almost 59,000, 58,000 something and some change for this nice trailer, which I am preparing myself for when all these fields are going to need a big size trailer like this one day, because a lot of them are going to have the same crops. Check it out. I'm sorry. Look. While it's saving, I'll show you what fields I have so far and what's going on. To do that, to see them all, I need to go to soil types. The ones on the right near 37, the number 37 there. On the one that's all loam, that's corn that's growing right now. That's not ready to harvest. And then I have wheat on the two pie-shaped fields, so that I will never run out of wheat. Chickens, it seems, I almost have 500 chickens, and they are consuming wheat like crazy. And let's take a look at the precision farming economic analysis screen just for a moment. Now, I talked about this in another video that I made on my channel, specifically about the economic analysis screen, which you get by hitting the analog stick on the right. I believe that's R3. That's how you toggle that. And then there's one over here for this field. Now, I have not harvested anything yet because these are all brand new fields here. But what are those numbers? What is 13,870? I haven't harvested or sold anything on that plot yet. I don't know what the economic analysis screen is for. Here, I click on this one. It says total 63,246 after all is said and done. That is supposedly my profits. I think it's just a rough estimate because I've never really sold anything in the markets ever. I'm saving it all for animals. Except for tomorrow, I am selling some sunflowers because it's going to be at its highest point for the year. But the economic analysis screen makes it does make sense to me, but I don't understand how it's applicable for this game. How is this useful to me? It's just basically FYI. It's really nothing useful. It's kind of just statistics. But the total of 63,245 I think only comes into play at certain times, and then it's permanent. That number doesn't change. It'll fluctuate by maybe about $10 or $20, $50 one way or the other, but nothing really significant every single day. With that, so that this really absolutely doesn't make any sense to me as to what it serves its purpose for, because I'm unable to figure out what are they. This can't be true because the only time I'm going to sell crops is at its highest point, right? Because right now, like I said, I've got sunflowers growing. Tomorrow, look, the markets say it's the best time to sell it. I'm sorry, not growing. I've got sunflowers in my silo from a previous harvest last year. And it's telling me, and when I do sell them, okay, I know this is kind of confusing, but when I do sell them, the sunflowers grew on this field, the letter E field is what I call it. It's kind of a bizarre looking letter E, but I think you can use your imagination and see it. That number, 63,245, will be the same when I sell those sunflowers tomorrow at the highest point of the year when it's the best time to sell it for the year. Because I've studied this, I've looked at it, I've tried to make heads or tails of economic analysis, but there is no rhyme or reason to it. It doesn't really tell you what your total profits are. Like I said, when I sell my sunflowers tomorrow, that number 63,245 should potentially actually be higher. But I do not know what that number is for because I've never sold anything yet. That is a number that doesn't exist, but it's telling me that's what I could make maybe if I sold them, but it's not based on markets. For some reason that number just gets stamped on the economic analysis screen and doesn't fluctuate based on the markets. So there's something strange going on there, but it's not really that much of a thing that even bothers me for the game. I think it's just FYI, saying here is just a rough example of your costs versus your total earnings versus your bottom line. This is how much you'll make. But I think it can be a lot higher than that. It says total costs right now, whatever, 14,112. Total earnings, 77,357. And then in parentheses, it's got plus 1,112. What is that? I think there needs to be a separate tutorial made that we can all watch. Whoops. Brain. That is what you call a brain fart. So I'm going to finish up the rest of this. Enjoy the song while I harvest. All right then. So far so good. That is a lot of canola for these two average size fields. Maybe even a little bit below average. But together, these two fields make a nice field. While that's emptying out, we'll take a bird's eye view. These two fields, this one here, that's, you know, it's a good sized field. But with this field in addition, now we got a good sized field going on. And with the regular seasons mod, without precision farming, before the DLC precision farming, you know, a person would get an expected amount every single year, you know. But now with precision farming, that it gives rewards even more and less fertilizer costs. Because now it seems once you've plowed a field out, you only need to add one layer of fertilizer. That's it every time now. You no longer need to add 3 layers of fertilizer anymore, it seems. I've never done slurry yet, but I know the seeders and the planters that also add fertilizer are overpowered. For example, I have proven it on other videos on my channel with precision farming. There was a specific field, as a matter of fact, that once I plowed out everything, let me start again, because what I did is I mowed the grass over there on field 37, all of those fields. Let me just talk about that for a second, how seeders and planters are overpowered. I want to go back to this screen. You see over here on 37, this field here, this field here, and this field here. After I plowed out these fields fresh, there was only 20 nitrogen in the soil. And the reason there was only 20 nitrogen in the soil is because I had just mowed the grass and turned it into hay. I'm sorry, silage. I was in the process of making silage by first turning it into chaff, putting it in the silo bunker, and then it ferments. After I mowed it, collected the grass, I then plowed out the fields fresh. The nitrogen value was at 20, which makes sense. Now, if you plow a field without mowing it first, you're going to get more nitrogen in the soil to start with. I believe it's around 60. So you only get about 40 nitrogen from grass. And I believe the same holds true for oilseed radish. It only puts 40 nitrogen into the soil. So fresh grass, plowed out fresh, not been mowed, adds a total of 60 to the soil. So you're going to start off with 60 nitrogen. But that actually is all superfluous, because the video shows that after I mowed the grass, collected it, and then plowed out fresh fields, the nitrogen value was at 20, and the seeder that I used, which is also a fertilizer to plant the wheat that is here, jumped the nitrogen value from 20 all the way to the perfect level of 180 and 200. I believe it was actually 160 here and then 180 here, which is the perfect amount of nitrogen for wheat. And it even says so. And then the corn, I used a planter fertilizer, and the soil nitrogen jumped from 20 to 200. That's overpowered. Oilseed radish is taken out of the equation, and so is slurry and manure. If you really want to look at it and see how it's kind of broken in the game, but the game is still great, by the way. I'm not saying that it's not a good game. The slurry and manure factor is no longer even needed. You don't need animals to produce manure unless you have fruit trees or greenhouses. But slurry becomes superfluous. Say that 10 times fast. Slurry becomes superfluous now with seeders and planters that also fertilize because they're overpowered. I proved it on the video. It jumps from 20 to 200 with both the planter fertilizer and the seeder fertilizer. Let's turn the harvester off and run over there real quick. You know, I just make these videos and I'm not sure what direction they're going, but there's certain things that need to be talked about again, and it's good to keep talking about them because we need to create a dialogue so that things can be changed to make the game even better, more better than it is. Now, do you see this nitrogen value? It says perfect at 200. Let me start over again and explain it again just to drive this point home. Last spring, I mowed all of this out, this entire area on 37, collected it, the grass, put it in the silage silo bunker to ferment, then grabbed the plow and made this field. The nitrogen value was at 20. I got in the tractor, attached the planter fertilizer for corn, and the nitrogen value in just one application while planting the seed at the same time jumped the nitrogen value from 20 to 200. That's ridiculous. It shouldn't be that overpowered. It shouldn't add that much because slurry now is superfluous. Who needs it? Manure is superfluous. Who needs it? Of course, manure, like I said, you can use it for fruit trees or greenhouses. But slurry becomes, why do you need it? Why is it in the game if our planters, fertilizers, and seeder fertilizers can do everything already? What's the point? The same goes with oilseed radish. What's the point? I've been driving this point home for quite a few videos because now I'm starting to realize that it is starting to agitate me. It is starting to take away from the realism because I just realized slurry is superfluous. And I'm sorry if my voice is getting a little raised and I'm getting a little angry, but that's how passionate I am about this. Not cool. But the game is still a great game. I tell you what. I keep playing it. I've tried to, to take a break from this game and play other games, but I'll find myself playing that other game, a different game besides this, for only about 20 minutes, and then I'm back playing FS19 again. This game is fun, but that discussion I just had a couple minutes ago does need to be looked at. The planters and the seeders that also fertilize in this game are overpowered. That is a fact. They are overpowered. When things become overpowered, eventually the entire farming simulator community realizes it, and then that's when things change. Slurry is definitely now, who cares? There's no reason to have pigs for slurry. You're wasting your time. And things that waste time are not what a game is supposed to be about. A game is supposed to entertain, and for players that play with seasons and precision farming, we love realism. If the realism factor gets taken away, we start to lose faith in the game, we start to lose interest in the game, and we move on to different games. That is a fact of life with everybody. But for a certain player base that likes realism more than anything else for a game, and then discovers a game like this, and they become quite passionate about it, more so than other demographics of our community. All right, now this is going to pretty much be almost the end of this video once I see how much canola I have in total. I think I'm going to be happily satisfied with the harvest because of the soil type is perfect for canola. Of course, Loam is the best choice. So out of those two fields, 28,419 canola. That's pretty decent. And earlier I was discussing how I would save it for food for my pigs, but now, you know, there's a big investment with pigs. Of course, there's profits by selling them outright, but you're also paying the delivery costs. So the profits versus selling the canola outright are going to be very slim unless you get an animal trailer that holds a lot of pigs. I mean, the biggest one that you can find. Because pigs reproduce very, 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 very fast. So you find the biggest trailer you can find, and then that costs money. And then you need a big enough tractor to pull all those pigs. So the investment for making profits for pigs takes a long time. And if slurry is superfluous, I'm going to keep saying that in this video because it sounds cool. If slurry is superfluous, like I just proved, unfortunately, because all planters and all seeders are overpowered, that also fertilize at the same time. They are overpowered. Come on. Can't deny it. We wish they weren't, but it's true. They all need to be changed. But is that going to happen? Probably not. You're probably not going to see the planters and the seeders in this game that also fertilize tweaked and changed in the mod hub. You're not going to see it. It's just too much code to worry about. There's way too many of them in the game, and that also just might lead to unexpected glitches and bugs that come out of nowhere that nobody even saw coming. It always happens when you start to change things to make the game you think is better. And you know in your heart it's going to make it better, but it actually makes it worse. That's just the law of code for programming, games and such. So let's look at again here while the game saves. We'll get off this screen. I've already talked this one enough into the ground. It doesn't make any sense. The precision farming economic analysis screen. I mean, it's nice to know, but it's really not that accurate. I have tried to make heads or tails of it. Let's look at this screen here where it's all been harvested. So this was canola, and this was canola. About 29,000 liters out of two modestly good-sized fields together make a nice size field. And I'm kind of losing interest now in this game. I just realized now, and I knew it was always in the back of my mind, that slurry now is just useless with the precision farming nitrogen being added into the soil. Let's teleport over to which two machines I'm talking about, just to be even more clear. Here's the seeder fertilizer that will add the perfect amount of nitrogen to the soil, no matter what crop it is. It will either not add nitrogen or add nitrogen, but if the nitrogen is so low, like I told you about the corn, we're using this. It doesn't matter which one. It has to do with the fertilizer that's put in. It doesn't matter which one you buy from the mod hub, and I know there's a lot of them. This planter turned loam, planting corn into it, adding fertilizer at the same time, turned the loam from 20 nitrogen to 200, all in one shot. That's overpowered. You know it is. And now I'm starting to lose interest in this game because now I know pigs are useless. Why am I even having pigs? The slurry becomes useless because these are overpowered, guys. You need to get angry about this. Start saying, hey, now what else comes after that? Huh? The oilseed radish that used to be a part of the game that's in between crop rotation plans. Imagine oilseed radish, invisible oilseed radish in between some of those crops. Because there's no way to find oilseed radish on here. There is no oilseed radish. Okay? But that's not needed anymore either. Oilseed radish now is superfluous, useless. What's next? Manure. Of course. It's a type of way to put nitrogen in the soil. But if this item here, and I'm not yelling at anybody, I'm just passionate about it, okay? And this item here are overpowered, guys. And I've proven it in many videos. A couple or two or three in my series on this channel of No Man's Land. Not saying it's No Man's Land map, it's all maps. It's got to be all maps that this is it's a problem. I'm going to just get right down to it and address it for what it is. It's a problem for realism for a game that's a farming simulator. I was looking forward to having pigs, and now I'm thinking, why do I need them? I don't need them. Pigs are for making slurry. That's a fact. But if slurry's taken out of the equation, what's the point? Sell it? I guess you could sell it. Sell the slurry, but then you got to buy everything. Why even bother? You got to buy something to carry the slurry in. That's an investment. You got to buy the pigs themselves. That's an investment. You got to keep them fed. That's an investment. That's time and energy. Why even bother? Just sell the canola right out. Just sell the corn and just sell them right out and get cows. Cows are still a thing because manure can be used, like I said, for other things. Not necessarily just for fields. That's the wonderful thing about manure. But manure is made with cows because you get a better output from one bale of straw. The reward of manure is a lot greater than it is for pigs. Pigs use way too much straw, and the reward, the outcome, is not worth it. You're actually losing money. But if you've got so much straw you don't know what to do with, then okay, I can see that. Maybe the manure is worth more to sell than the straw would be. I don't really know. I haven't really sold much manure. Well, have a great day, everybody. Maybe I'll make another video. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'm done with Farming Simulator 19. Maybe I need to just move on. Because it is a great game, but once you start to play it and to start to discover things, when you're a hardcore player such as myself that likes realism more than anything else, I start to lose interest. But it's still an awesome game. Don't get me wrong. Farming Simulator 19. Those are just my thoughts and my opinions. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Leave a comment. Leave a like. Subscribe if you like too. I don't even care if you subscribe or not, you know? At this point, I think I've done enough I've made enough Farming Simulator 19 videos to help the community out there make heads or tails of this game and turn it into something that's enjoyable. That's the key word. It's got to be enjoyable. It's got to be worth the time and energy to get an entertainment value. And I hope these videos of this entire series for the last month for precision farming and seasons has helped your knowledge of all of that.